Hello and welcome to our English news edition coming to you from Canal, Algerie. To the headlines. The President of the Republic receives the Polish ambassador who paid him a farewell visit at the end of his mission in Algeria. On the occasion of the World Women's Day, the President of the Republic sends a message in which he highlights the key role played by them in the country's development. The Army General Said Chingreha, Chief of Staff of the People's National Army, supervises a tactical exercise with live ammunition in Janat, southeastern operational sector. Moroccans keep demonstrating to voice their fed-up of the Makhzen's exactions and denounce their harsh living conditions. And France is jolted as well by demonstrations against the retirement law, massively rejected by the disgruntled population. Good evening and welcome back. First up in our news, the President of the Republic received the Ambassador of the Republic of Poland, Witold Spiridowicz, who paid him a farewell visit at the end of his mission in Algeria. The audience took place in the presence of the Principal Private Secretary of the Presidency, Abdelaziz Khalaf. Later on, the Polish ambassador made the following statement.
Après presque 7 ans, je termine ma mission en Algérie. C'était une période inoubliable. J'étais entouré par la sympathie des gens.
After 7 years in Algeria, my mission has come to a close. It has been an unforgettable stint, marked with people's sympathy. I took stock of a constant progress, namely the edification of New Algeria, a telling success in comparison with the other countries of the region. Algeria remains always a stable country, a peaceful one that negotiates with all. History and wealth are its main assets. I wish you success.
Et je veux dire vers la fin, 1, 2, 3, merci Algérie.
In a different context and on the occasion of the World Women's Day celebrated on the 8th of March of each year, the President of the Republic addressed a message to the Algerian women which said the following. The Algerian woman celebrates this day amid the challenges of building a modern state and society where stability and tranquility reign, proud that she belongs to an authentic people that adore freedom and know how to exalt the sacrifices of its daughters, who proved themselves and illustrated their nationalist spirit even in the most difficult times. Militant or fighter, the Algerian woman was during the glorious liberation war an example of bravery and the attachment of freedom and dignity. The Algerian woman of today, which her legacy advances to her way to success in the footsteps of her foremothers who gave birth to the heroes of November. It is not surprising to see that the Algerian woman rises strong in all fields in a free and independent Algeria to reach the highest ranks of society. Algeria, which has enshrined its legislation the principle of equity and equal opportunities, is setting up its public policies fully aware of the necessary qualification of human resources. Women share with men values as well as rights and duties on an equal footing. The Algerian woman proved that she is a pillar of the new Algeria, which is moving towards investment in the human capital, competences and excellence to establish the culture of transparency and the value of work, while rejecting all forms of corruption in a new era where nothing comes before the interest of the people and the achievement of its hopes and aspirations. All this while reiterating my sincere congratulations. I assure to you that the status of women and family will remain at the center of the government's concerns, which I urge on this occasion to intensify its support and accompaniment of all efforts in quest of strengthening national solidarity, promoting the rights of women and to preserve the Algerian family, concluded the President of the Republic. The Algerian woman has always sided with men in developing the country thanks to her strong determination and staunch support. This lofty mission was possible with a constitution that reinforces the already existing achievements and preserves her rights on equal footing. Ines Kilo reports.
There is no field in which she has not distinguished herself, be it political, economic, scientific or agricultural. Algerian women have made important achievements over the years, whether as a housewife or in a position of responsibility. She has earned her reputation as a fighter and has imposed herself in various sectors. Armed with an iron will and high sense of patriotism, the Algerian women have taken up many challenges, often being at the forefront of society and successfully reconciling professional career and family life. If its role was likely during the War of National Liberation, it would be equally important in post-independence years. Today, the state still relies on its fundamental role in the edification process of a new Algeria to build a prosperous future. Over the last 3 years, the special position of Algerian women has been strengthened by important political achievements, in particular the principle of gender equality in access to jobs, the consecration of parity in the labour market, and the promotion of women to positions of responsibility and high positions within the state. These achievements are enriched in the 2020 Constitution and most of the national legislation, notably the Labour Code and the law on the exercise of trade and union rights, regulations that emphasize non-discrimination in employment and occupation outside the criteria of competence and merit, and guarantee equal pay for workers. The President of the Republic has repeatedly affirmed his determination to fulfill his commitments to the people by consolidating the position of women, especially in terms of political autonomy and integration into the economic recovery process, and ensuring guarantees of protection in all its forms of violence. For the head of state, it is necessary to integrate women into economic life by encouraging projects that create wealth and entrepreneurship among innovative women, especially rural women and housewives. It must also be said that the statistics testify to a strong female presence in various sectors that have more than 50% of female employees, such as health, education, and teaching. 65% of all university graduates are women each year. These figures show that the Algerian women are fully involved in the development of the country in all fields and constitute a source of both admiration and aspiration.
In other news, Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdurrahman chaired on Monday a meeting of the government during which several points were examined. First, the government reviewed a draft bill presented by the Justice Minister which aims at consolidating the protection of society, notably the vulnerable segments, as well as improving the justice public services. The government then heard a presentation made by the Religious Affairs and Endowments Minister on the results of the mission of the multi-sectorial delegation to Saudi Arabia to proceed to the examination of the contracts related to the organization of the Hajj or pilgrimage of the year 2023. The government also heard a joint presentation made by the Ministers of Industry, Agriculture and Trade on the construction project of grain storage units. The Minister of Industry then presented a communication on the national strategy for the promotion of national infrastructure and measurement. And finally, the Housing Minister made a presentation on the construction project of a new parliament building with its 2 chambers. For the second day of his visit to the 4th Military Region, the Army General Said Shingriha, Chief of Staff of the People's National Army, supervised at the southeastern operational sector of Janet a tactical exercise with live ammunition. More details with Melissa Kovash.
The Army General, accompanied by Major General Omar Tlemceni, commander of the 4th Military Region, followed the presentation given by the commander of the southeastern operational sector of Janet related to the general idea and exercise steps. The tactical exercise with live ammunition aims at assessing the combat capability of the units of the southeastern control operations sector of Janet, their ability to carry out combats, the degree of control of combat means and modern system weapons, weapons, alongside preparing the commanders and staff in terms of planning, preparing, organizing and executing operations in real field conditions of a battle.
أركان الجيش الوطني الشعبي في هذا النوع من الأسلحة.
At the firing range of the operational sector, the Army General followed the progress of the various combat actions carried out by the land and air units. The presentation was characterized by high professionalism and high tactical and operational levels, which confirms once again the rigor and the conduct of operations in terms of planning and executing them. It also reflects the coordination of the various combat actions, the know-how and capacity of the personnel concerning the various weapons and equipment provided.
توقيف العدو المتوغل.
At the end, the Army General met the personnel of the units who took part in this tactical exercise with live ammunition, so as to assess their performance before congratulating them for their efforts deployed in the preparation and execution of this exercise, crowned with satisfying results, reflected in the precision and firing with various weapons and the perfect coordination between the units and the weapons used. Army General urged all the personnel to take advantage of the results obtained and the development of the operational capacities of the Battle Corps of the National People's Army. Finally, Army General reviewed the units of the Janet Southeast Operational Sector and the various military formations involved in this exercise.
Moving on to the parliamentary activity, and during a plenary session chaired by the President of the National People's Assembly, Brahim Boughali, the MPs adopted a law relating to the exercise of trade union rights after the examination of the 56th proposed amendments. The MPs also adopted an amended law on the functioning of the National People's Assembly and the Senate, as well as the relations linking the two chambers with the government. In other news, the Secretary General of the Foreign Affairs and National Community Abroad Ministry, Ammar Blani, received on Monday the President of the Commission for Foreign Affairs at the Croatian Parliament, Gari Capelli. During the meeting, the two parties reiterated their willingness and commitment to further deepen the already excellent relations existing between the two countries. In the sector of energy, the Sonatrach Group, alongside a high-level delegation, is taking part in the energy conference Sera Week in Houston, during which executives of international major energy companies presented investment opportunities in Algeria in the field of hydrocarbons. This international meeting, which kicked off with the participation of the energy minister at the head of a delegation, will be an opportunity for the national oil and gas company Sonatrach to present its investment opportunities in the field of oil and gas production, notably in light of the facilitations that the new hydrocarbons law provides. Demonstrations keep going in Morocco. Yesterday, the protests mobilized teachers and nurses. Even the demands differ from one sector to another. The main call is the introduction of fundamental rights. نجاح طيار tells us more.
The education sector in Morocco is in turmoil. Teachers continue to pound the pavement to express their dissatisfaction with their increasingly precarious socio-professional situation. The teachers are still protesting against the system of contracts imposed on them. They also denounce the attitude of their supervisors and reiterate their determination to continue their action until their demands are answered. They express their refusal to work under contract and demand their integration and insist on their inclusion in the public service. The turmoil in Morocco hits seriously other sectors. For their part, the nurses have taken to the streets to make their grievances heard again by the authorities. The latter have been struggling with their ministry for years already in order to snatch their rights. Today, again, the corporation has expressed its absolute rejection to the contract policy in the sector. The Moroccans' exasperation is generalized. Demonstrations and strikes touch several sectors. The demonstrators keep faithful to their rebel against the Mersin regime and demand its departure.
And for the sixth running day, French citizens took to the streets to denounce the retirement law, which increases the age limit to 64 years, a reform massively rejected by the French labor force. Najah Dayar once again.
The massive mobilization still goes on for the sixth day, a serious test for the French government, willing to raise the retirement age from 62 to 64 with the stated aim of ensuring the financing of the system. Opponents of the reform massively reject and denounce this unfair project, penalizing mainly employees in the most difficult jobs. They have lied to us and said many untrue things for mere justification. They have changed arguments too, since they are losing the public opinion. These days, the government has been discussing this project and its rejection by the majority of the French population. This series of melodrama caused debates at the French National Assembly, and a lockdown in the country is expected. He is never here. We are wondering, where did the President of the Republic go? He sends us Madame Bon, he sends us the ministers. But today we are in a country that is managed by a president that does not exist. The more time goes, the stronger this movement gets. We hope that our calls are heard, and if there's going to be a lockdown, then we are here until then. The disgruntled French people are determined to avert this new retirement pension law, ready to take to the streets until the French government gives up this decision.
To sports now, CR Belouizdad revived their chance to progress to the next round of the African Championship competition following their praiseworthy victory to the Sudanese side of El Merreikh with 1-0 as part of the Group D game held in Annaba Stadium. And with that, we come to the end of our today's program. Thank you for tuning in, and goodbye.